the Nutcracker, and the Four Realms, because everything needs a multiverse. The film begins with an owl flying out from the Disney castle through Robert Zemeckis' Christmas Carol. Also, the story has been moved from Russia to London. Either way, we still have our Clara, played by Renesmee from Twilight, and our Fritz, they're playing live-action Mousetrap. Seriously, as Clara set up a whole Rube Goldberg machine to capture mice. Downstairs, Dad is setting up the Christmas tree, but Fritz is upset. Disney took their mother. But hey, I'm a cool dad, you can open your Christmas presents early. Instead of a Nutcracker, Clara gets a metal egg and a note. Shit, it's written in fancy. Now get your shoes on, we're still going to your uncle's Christmas party. I don't care how much the movie wants to get emotional.
I don't want to enjoy it. I don't want to enjoy anything right now.
It's important to maintain traditions as a family.
I don't care what's expected.
When are they gonna start dancing? Isn't this a ballet? Some more egg and mom talk, and they're off. Now, Fritz, stop snacking. Claire, interact with people, and I want to dance later. Louise, you, exist. They drive by a really expensive-looking steampunk lamp that opens the gate nowhere near it. Clara somehow sneaks the egg in her dress that does not have pockets. Persona in Russia, here's a Kremlin. Oh, there's the ballet. Enough of that as Clara heads to the basement that is also a greenhouse. There's that owl from earlier, and Clara's looking for her godfather Drosselmeyer, not uncle, which is actually more accurate. Morgan Drosselmeyer Freeman finds her, and oh my goodness, they changed his appearance. This totally ruins the film. It doesn't make any sense, and it's so distracting. Why'd they give him an eye patch? So handing him the egg, and he monologues about her mother for a bit, and eventually gets to he doesn't understand what the egg is. Dad's upset they didn't get to do the father-daughter dance, but no time because it's time to distribute the presents via string maze. Find your name across the string, and Fritz found the Nutcracker instead of Clara for some reason. This is definitely lost on modern viewers, but think of a Nutcracker as like the Victorian era's equivalent to a Funko Pop. People thought they were really cool and cute, and they come in different variants and colors and stuff. Instead, Clara follows her string into Narnia.
That's a man-child, son of Adam. Hello, little boy. What's your name?
Vivian!
Not reacting that Northern Michigan's just in her godfather's house, and she finds a key and gets stolen by a mouse. She comes across a border check with a frozen guard she thinks looks like a Nutcracker, which doesn't at all resemble the Nutcracker from earlier, other than uniform, I guess. He comes alive. Clara learns that the realms are a thing, she's entering one that's at war with everyone else, and she's a royal. This is Captain Philip Hoffman, the last Nutcracker, and using her royal privilege gets pass. Well, that was an expensive joke. Wandering through Wonderland, and the Nutcracker knows his place, but Clara doesn't know hers, despite being rich and being allowed to be a little tinkerer, in a time when most women were barely allowed to read. But she sees the mouse with the key, but then the mouse gets backed up by a swarm of rats in a giant rat form. This is apparently the Rat King of the story, which is really lame and would actually cost them even more than just having a giant rat person like every other telling of the story. They make it to the not fantasy Kremlin, and they get hounded by two racist guards who, despite Philip being the last Nutcracker, these two are also, if not even more so, dressed up like Nutcrackers with the makeup and stuff. But Claire, using her royal privilege, gets in because apparently her mom was the queen of this land. Also swans because Tchaikovsky. Apparently the other realms are of flowers, snowflakes, the forbidden amusement realm, and sugar, ran by Keira Knightley as the Sugar Plum Fairy. And Clara gets the swan throne as the high queen of them all. But Clara just wants to go home. So the Sugar Plum Fairy shows the set to Alice in Wonderland through the looking glass that apparently the real world goes in slow motion. So we have plenty of time to play Royal and actually have some of the Nutcracker music. Da 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 da. So they all sit down and watch Fantasia. Yeah, that's one way to adapt a ballet, just have the characters watch the ballet. You could have just filmed the thing itself. They do this with Hamilton a couple of years later. The ballet is apparently supposed to show that Claire's mom came to the realm and crowned herself queen, and apparently it's so long they have time to leave and explore the other realms and come back and it's still going. I think it's meant to be symbolism that Clara feels like her mom in this, exploring the realms, but it's not really obvious. Well, the Rat King in the play's allowed to be a big rat, why the hell can't the real one be? Sugar Plum immediately contradicts the play, and apparently Clara's mom created the realms. And the amusement realm is forbidden because it's ran by the evil Mother Ginger, and she's in line with the rats. So luckily they have a thing that needs a key so they can create an army, and that key is apparently the same key to the egg. So we're marching out. Instead of Captain Phillip, apparently Clara's going to lead the charge, marching into another very Tim Burton looking land, and the rats are tunneling. It's an ambush, they're in the dirt. Clara gets picked up by Mother Ginger, who tosses her under her skirt, where she gets surrounded by her really creepy clown things that are also those nesting eggs, because Russia. Apparently the real Mother Ginger is a cracked doll, and this is just a mechanical thing. But Clara grabs the key from her and they escape. Well, the majority of the army is now dead, but we got the key. And inside the egg is a music box. Clara is upset, but Philip says she's okay. So heading back to the Candy Kingdom, and they start up the thing. And Philip's a little cautious about them using the tin soldiers. It's not as reliable as the wooden nutcrackers. But either way, they get the props from Santa Claus too. And Twist, the Sugar Plum Fairy, is evil and locks everyone up, including the other realm guys. Claire's upset that it's her fault, which I guess it kinda is. But it doesn't matter because symbolism, she flips over a thing in the music box and it's herself. With his confidence boost, they somehow find a rope and come up with a plan. Philip will hold one end of the rope as Clara jumps down. Eventually he'll drop the rope and it'll swing and get tied around the statue of the swan and they'll get to freedom. You could have just tied it around the statue in the first place and not endangered yourself. Honestly, I was kind of expecting that Philip was going to be used as an anchor as she just swings down. And then Philip uses the flower guy to anchor as he swings down. And then the snowflake guy anchors the flower guy. And then Snowflake just jumps down and he floats down like a snowflake. And everyone's like, well, why didn't you do that in the first place and unlock the door? It's like, well, no one asked me to. The mouse that was with the key earlier shows them a way to the riverside, and they come up with a plan to sneak in via the spoke. One slip up on the rocks, and Clara makes it in, as Philip goes to find Ginger. She sets off some mechanical mice to distract the guards, and she can fight because shut up. Ginger is not doing too well against the tin soldiers. But twist, it was actually Philip commanding the robot, as the real Ginger and the clown sneak into the palace. And she's got a whip. And the film is way more interested in that because we only cut back to Philip and, the actual title character, the Nutcracker, a few seconds, and then we cut back to Ginger. Clara plays with some things on the device, and luckily it backfires and turns the Sugar Plum Fairy into a doll, which also turns off the tin soldiers. Because, either way, resolution. Ginger's back on the council, they'll find a new head of the Sugar Kingdom later. Those two guards from earlier are the new boarders are. Philip is promoted from captain to captain, and Claire is going home. Back in reality, she finds Drosselmeyer, who says that she's the greatest creation of her mom, not her two siblings, nor the device that makes toys come to life. She finds her dad, and they make up and dance. And that was Alice in Narnia. It certainly did try. Well, the acting's fine, even if Morgan Freeman was completely wasted in this film. The film really shines when it comes to its ideas. It's very colorful, and these realms do look beautiful. But they're really poorly explored. Like the contradictory note of they are both created by Claire's mom, but also she found them. And they probably should have been used for a different Narnia Kingdom Hearts ripoff instead of being stapled to the Nutcracker. They hardly used any of the music from the ballet, and Philip the Nutcracker himself is very sidelined to just being kind of at Clara's side the entire film and not really doing much by himself. And the rats might as well not even be in the film. The whole thing about the dead mom and the estranged dad is barely really a thing. And if they're gonna do like the parallels to the real world and the Sugar Plum Fairy's a whole twist, wicked Paradise Lost thing where she's actually evil and the Rat King's good, why couldn't the Rat King be like the dad and she learns to appreciate him? And maybe Ginger could also be actually using Morgan Freeman in this film. The film is gorgeous and it definitely has ideas and creativity, but it's let down by a generic story and being a poor adaptation of the ballet. Overall, I'll give it a 4 out of 10. But let me know your opinions down below, as well as hitting that like button and subscribing.